This is going to be concerning for the Boston Celtics as Jordan Walsh and JD Davison have not lived up to the hype of last year's Summer League or what the fans have kind of put into their system. Jordan Walsh has been struggling from the offensive side from 3-point range, and JD Davison hasn't taken that leap like guys like Jaden Springer or Neemias Queta have shown for us in the Summer League. These are concerning things for Brad Stevens as he looks to address this roster and try to finalize those roster spots. Will Jordan Walsh, will JD Davison be able to play for this Boston Celtics team this season? We'll be discussing all that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. Without further ado, before we dive into this, you guys have been absolutely fantastic hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around the Celtics team, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You guys have been absolutely killing it. Without further ado, though, let's dive into the topic at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing two players from the Boston Celtics that have been on this Summer League team. And the first one we're going to be discussing is Jordan Walsh. Now, if you want to look at this, we can see that this is the full roster of everybody that has played on the Summer League. And we've had some videos come out about some players. We've talked about Baylor Shireman a little bit. We'll have some videos coming about some of these other players. But in today's video, I want to discuss the two concerning players, the two players that are raising a little bit of a question mark for me, and that is Jordan Walsh and JD Davison. We're first going to get into this Jordan Walsh discussion and talking. Now, I tried to find a better way to find this all out, but unfortunately, I could only get the box score. So, for you guys, we are going to have the 4 box scores from the 4 games that have been played so far in the Summer League as of recording. I know that the Celtics have their 5th and final consolation game versus the 76ers in about 2 hours. I don't know if this video will go up before or after the fact, but that is just to give you guys some retrospect. We have not watched the 5th game yet, and we'll have a video coming and breaking down all of that as well. But breaking down the Celtics so far in their first 4 games of the Summer League, they've played the Heat, the Lakers, the Hornets, and the Mavericks, where they've stayed 2-2. And we have all 4 box scores to kind of pull up and show you. So let's look at this right here. As we can see, we can look at the first box score, first the Miami Heat game, and we can see from Jordan Walsh that he did not have the greatest performance for the Boston Celtics. 0 for 6 from the 3-point range, 1 for 8 from the field. Did decent on, doing the intangibles in which a guy who I think could be that Grant Williams replacement from last year. I really like his stretchability to be a 3-and-D wing. But that 3-point ball has to be falling if he wants to be that type of player. And throughout the Summer League, we have seen it not go down. In this game, 0 for 6 from 3-point range. When looking at the next game versus the Los Angeles Lakers, he did look a little bit better on the defensive side, looked a little bit more fundamentally sound, was able to get 3 steals, was able to get a block, was doing more of the intangibles. But my man could not find a basket to fall from 3-point range. Once again, 4 for 12 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3-point range, with a total of 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. I like the intangibles he's doing. Like I said, I really liked his defensive prowess in this game. He seemed to be on that low block, loves to prioritize and rising up with guys like Castleton and trying to rim protect and protect by protecting the rim, which was solid, but no such ability at that 3-point game, no really offensive prowess that really has dominated or pounced out from Jordan Walsh so far that we've seen this Summer League. And that kind of carries over into the next games as well. We want to look at this game versus the Charlotte Hornets. We know the Celtics came back in this game after being down in the 4th quarter, but Walsh, again, no basket to fall for him. His only points were via the charity strike where he was 2 for 4, where he was still 50%, but still 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block in 24 minutes. You are one of our primer players. You have been in the Summer League before. You looked brilliant in the Summer League last year, and it just doesn't seem to be translating or clicking for Walsh this summer. And then lastly, looking at his stats once again, this is via the game versus the Dallas Mavericks, where the Celtics did unfortunately get blown out. 4 for 16 from the field, 0 for 10 from 3-point range. Now, Walsh did have 11 rebounds in this game, so was controlling the boards, but my guy could not find the basket to fall from 3-point range. Let's get this straight. Jordan Walsh has attempted 10 in this game, 1 in that game, 6 in that game, and 5 in this game, I believe. Let me find him. 6. So 6, 6, yeah, 23 threes my guy has taken, and he's made 0 this entire Summer League. That is not a good sign, especially for the Boston Celtics, who saw Walsh really develop in the Summer League last year. Look very, very solid. Looking like one of those guys, like I mentioned, who could be that intangible guy who can help out, maybe stretch out, hit that 3-pointer shot, but also can rebound, block shots, be that hustle, hard knocked guy. 3-point ball just seems not to be falling for him. Now, Obviously, it's summer league. There's still a bunch of training camp. He still has a bunch to go to kind of work up into this role. But I do think that that is concerning to mention for the Boston Celtics because Walsh's role is expected to be a bit bigger than it was last year. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Let me know your guys' thoughts on Jordan Walsh. Let me know your guys' kind of ideas. What do you guys think about him so far? And obviously, the last summer league game is going to be happening today. So we'll have to see how he performs in the final summer league game. Next, we're going to be breaking down JD Davison, as he also has looked a little concerning for the Boston Celtics so far throughout this summer league as well. Now, Davison has been with the Boston Celtics for a longer period of time. He has had multiple two-way contracts with this team after being drafted in the second round via Alabama, and has played with the Maine Celtics and Red Claws for the last couple of years. Now, Davidson was not offered originally a two-way spot for this team, but ultimately was gifted a two-way spot before the summer league started. That ultimately gave him and Peterson those two-way spots and still leaves one open remaining for a guy like Anton Watson or possibly even a guy like Jamias Ramsey, which we'll get to in a little bit, but in a later video. But ultimately, I have seen some concerns with JD Davidson. Now, me personally, I thought he could translate, be this offensive guard, kind of take over, depending on how Peyton Pritchard felt this offseason. But truly, from what I've seen so far in the summer league, is it's not looking like JD could even be that guy for the Boston Celtics. Now, JD has looked a lot better on the offensive side of the ball compared to a guy in Jordan Walsh. Davidson obviously started off pretty hot from 3-point range. Started off 3 for 3 for the first game and obviously 2 for 5 in the second game, but was looking pretty solid and getting his assists up as well with 7 of those as well. But then my boy Davidson came in and played in game 3 versus the Hornets and played pretty solid. 4 for 6 from the field, like what I'm seeing. But in game 4, got no run and was benched. To me, that kind of shows that, like we've seen so far with this Celtics team, is they're not really caring about the summer league. They just want to see who their pieces, what pieces look good, what pieces shine out and can kind of be bright. And then once they find that out, they kind of rest them and set them down. You saw that with Springer. Game 1 came out versus Miami, looked solid, rested him for the rest of the summer league. We already know your potential. You're going to be on the roster. Don't need to play. Kata came out, dropped back-to-back 20-point games. They said, Kata, you're good enough for the summer league. We don't need you. You can rest. You're done. That's what they're trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out who could be these Exhibit 10-day guys, who could kind of fill in these roster spots for the Maine Celtics, because they did lose some guys. DJ Wagner's obviously playing with the Chicago Bulls Summer League. Joe Wieskamp, I know, is playing with another Summer League. I don't know what it off the top of my head is. If you know in the comments, drop it down below. But he is also playing somewhere else with a number summer league. So there are options open for some of these players to possibly even work into the Celtics rotation, regardless if it's a two-way spot or a G League spot. And that's what guys like Tyler Cook, Tristan Nwara, guys like that are trying, Ron Harper Jr., Jalen House, those are the guys that are trying to find and fight for those roster spots. So having them play with Davidson and with Springer and Kata sitting out is good. The one concerning thing that I see with Davidson is he hasn't taken that leap for the Boston Celtics that Springer and Kata has taken. He obviously got benched for that last game, but I do think that's due to the fact that they just were like, all right, Davidson, you're kind of good. We already know your kind of play style. He looked better from 3-point range earlier on, but then started to cool off throughout the summer league. His playmaking looked decent, but not at the playability that I would like to see to be him being a starter. And truly, I think he's still just another guy tapped into this G League rotation. Now, could a team like Brooklyn or Washington possibly give him an opportunity? I think for sure, but I think that sticking in this G League is going to be the best thing for JD Davison to try to develop. And ultimately, I don't know if he's going to crack this Celtics rotation this year, possibly even next year, as he'll be done off his two ways. He'll most likely have to get a standardized deal. So he'll possibly go overseas or possibly pursue another team. With Peyton Pritchard and Jaden Springer really stepping up, with Jrue Holiday and Derrick White, I don't really see any room in this guard rotation for Springer to kind of take over and take that leap. Ultimately, though, I would wish the best for him, and I do want to see him succeed. So I want Jaden Springer, or JD Davidson, excuse me, to keep continuing to play in the G League, to keep playing hard, to keep working his butt off so that he can progressively work his way to a standardized deal. I just don't know if it necessarily will be with the Boston Celtics. Ultimately, that kind of leads me to here, where we get to this point where the Celtics' current projected rotation going into next season is Holiday, White, Brown, Tatum, Porziņģis, Pritchard, Walsh, Hauser, Tillman, Horford. Obviously, with Porziņģis being out for a little bit, we're going to have to use Walsh a little bit more. And that's the kind of concerning thing, is Walsh hasn't really taken over and showed us that offensive level of game so far in the Summer League that we saw in the last year. And with him being a player that could be into this bench rotation, that's something that we need to see take a leap. Obviously, there's full training camp. There's a bunch of stuff that we still have to wait and see. And I do think that Jordan Walsh will still pan out and still be a solid contributor for this Celtics team. But he might not be that offensive spark that Celtics fans necessarily thought that they saw coming out of college and last year. Or this could just be a little bit of a fluke. He's in a little bit of a rut, and he could come and ball out for the Boston Celtics. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I'm really excited. I just wanted to address these two players as I've heard about it on Twitter. I've heard the kind of commotion and talking about guys like Jordan Walsh, like JD Davison, not really living up to their expectations. And I kind of agree. I was expecting a little bit more from these guys of this summer league, but I do still believe in them. I still think that they have a long way to go. And a guy like Jordan Walsh, I still think could be an impact player. And I think JD Davison, in the right system, can earn a standardized contract. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions, how you feel about this Boston Celtics team. Like I mentioned, there's going to be an abundance of content coming out on here. Been slacking a little bit the last couple of days. I've been busy, was on vacation, but we're going to be grinding. We're going to be coming out with daily content for you guys revolving around the Celtics. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date with everything revolving around this team, if you want to know when the last person gets signed, when the last person gets their two-way contract, if this person tweaks their toe when they stub it in the morning, this is the place for you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, show your support. Once again, I'm Bruce Veliz. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics.